So we're going to talk about selecting the engine bleed configuration and then the engine climb settings. And so we can see right now we have the APU powering the pack. So the 10th stage engine bleeds are closed, and then this is where we set our thrust limits. So basically what's going on here is I've got takeoff power selected, and it gives me a little caret up here telling me where takeoff power is. It's just simply it's an indication so that you can match up the N1 needles with that caret. It won't set it up on its own. You could not have that indication there and still just set 88.1, and you'd have your takeoff power. But anyhow, so we see the boxes: takeoff, go around, climb, cruise, max continuous thrust, and then target. And then down here we have the engine bleed and anti-ice configuration. So this off intent is referring to whether or not the 10th stage engine bleeds are open, and then Cal and Wing and Cal is talking about your anti-ice configuration. We can see here that off is now green because it matches the configuration that's going on up there. Okay. Now, if I were to switch or close the APU load control valve and have the engines run in the packs, the FMS automatically changes to that configuration and now gives me power settings with the engine bleeds, 10th stage engine bleeds, open. Okay. If I were to hit this R5 button, I can take a look at what takeoff thrust setting would be with the engine bleeds closed, what it would be with my Wing and Cal on, and what it would be with my Cal on. Notice, however, that when I do that, it no longer matches the configuration that we have up here. This turns amber, and the indication on the N1 gauge disappears. You'll only have that indication if this matches the configuration up here. Okay? So here's where our next major issue is. I'm going to go ahead and set takeoff thrust here. And I'm going to take this sim off flight freeze. Yeah, I didn't set any of the speeds or anything before I shot this video, just FYI, speed mode. Okay, and the autopilot is on, and we'll say that we get to acceleration altitude, and then my first officer calls for climb thrust, flaps up climb thrust. And so we go and start with our flow up here, and let me switch these back. So if I have the APU powering everything, so I have the APU like this, you'll notice that I get no indication for climb thrust. That's because there's no climb charts with the 10th stage engine bleeds closed, right? So before I can set climb thrust, I have to open the engine bleeds, and now I have a setting for climb thrust. I can select it, pops up there, and then I can adjust my needles as necessary for climb thrust. And then as we climb and climb thrust changes, this indication will change. I'll still have to add thrust, to keep up with it, but once I set something, it's going to keep what I have set. So right now it'll keep 88.1 and 88.3 until it can't anymore. Okay. So the issue becomes then, well, what do you do? I'm going to flip this back. I did that the wrong way. So I'm going to flip this back here. And so the issue becomes, okay, well, what do you do if you lose an engine? Say you have an engine fire and you want to set max continuous thrust because you have no reading. I don't really want to open the bleeds on an engine that's on fire, so my options are QRH volume 2. I can open it up and find the chart in there. The other thing that I can do is I can go see what max continuous thrust would be with the 10th stage engine bleeds open, and we see there it's 90.2. I have to type in 90.2, and then I can put it in the target. Okay, go back to off, and then I can select target, and then it'll pop up there. Okay, and the only thing you have to keep in mind is that this does not change with altitude. If I go back to 10th stage now, we can see that max continuous thrust, I've probably climbed 1,000 or 2,000 feet. You can see max continuous thrust changed a little bit, right? And obviously as you get higher, the bigger your altitude change, the more it's going to change. So you kind of, if you're doing a significant climb single engine, you may have to check, you go back and forth and check and make sure that you're keeping up with what max continuous thrust is, right? And so I'm actually finding out the target is staying there as we cycle through these, so that's good. So essentially what that means is you could just keep this page up. I don't think, now see, I have 90.8 select, I have max continuous thrust selected, but because it doesn't match the configuration, it disappeared from my N1 gauge. So I can go 90.9, put it back in the target, select target, and well, it looks like it pops right back up. So in this case, I could keep this selected to 10th, and that way I can just keep updating my max continuous thrust.